Okay, hello. Today, what we are going to be doing is we will discuss the solutions for the binary tree worksheet that was handed out to you a couple of days back. Okay. So, you were given a set of problems. Some of them were theoretical and some involved programming, right? So, what we will do today is we will try and go through the sample solutions for all of those problems. Okay. Okay, so now I am on slide number 2. So here we will solve the first problem, which was doing the pre-order, post-order and in-order traversals for the given binary tree. So note that initially you were given a tree that was not binary, in which one node L had 3 child nodes, and then node H also had 3 child nodes. So since we are going to be restricting ourselves only to binary trees in this course, if you do end up taking data structures later on during the course of your degree, then probably you'll look at more general trees as well. But since this is an introductory class, we will keep our focus only on binary trees. So therefore, as you know, we sort of modified the tree a little bit. The revised tree was sent to you, and this is what it looks like, right? So you have L as a root node, and then 2 child nodes. K is a left child and H is a right child. And moving down from K has 2 child nodes of its own. So left child of K is A, right child of K is J. Likewise, H also has 2 child nodes. Left child of H is E, and right child of H is F. Moving down, A is a leaf node, which means it has no child nodes. Going to the right, J has 2 child nodes. Left child is called B, and right child is called C. Okay. Moving on to the right, for node E, it has only 1 child, which is the left child, and the left child for E is D. So E has no right child. And lastly, moving on to F, it is also a leaf node, which means it has neither a left child nor a right child. Okay. So we have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 nodes in the tree. So now your job was to perform in-order, pre-order and post-order traversals on these. So doing these 3 traversals, this was already discussed in the slide in the lecture on binary trees, right? So the main idea is you are given a series of steps which you have to recursively follow till you hit the leaf nodes, and then when you hit the leaf nodes, you just list them as they are. Okay. So what was the let's say, for example, in order, what is the series of steps? The series of steps is left subtree, and then followed by the root, and followed by the right subtree, right? So now what is the value of left subtree? Again, recursively the same definition has to be followed, and similar recursive steps have to be followed for RST also. So we'll look at in order, and it has left subtree followed by root followed by right subtree. So we immediately know that in the middle we have the root, which is L, and now to the left we have some nodes, and to the left of L we have some nodes, and to the right of L we have some nodes. So to the left, what nodes do we have? Now we have to recursively do an in order on the left subtree. So left subtree means now we are talking about the tree rooted at K. Okay. So now for the tree rooted at K, what is the left subtree? It's just A. So first one is A, and then followed by K, root, and then followed by right subtree. Now right subtree this time has 3 nodes, J, B and C. So before we get the answer, so then that means for the subtree, or for the tree rooted at J, again we do an in-order traversal. So left subtree, root, right subtree, which means B, J and C. So we have AK, BJ, C and then L. Now we move on to the RST, right subtree. So now we're talking about the tree rooted at H, right? Tree rooted at H. So what is the binary, what is the in-order traversal for that? So left subtree, which is E and D, will come in some order, then H, then F, right? Because root and right subtree are both one node, single nodes, H and F. And then for the tree with E as a root, again left subtree, which is D, followed by root, which is E, followed by right subtree, which is null. So finally we get DE, DE, HF, HF, right? So the final in-order traversal reads AK, BJ, CL, DE, HF, right? So you can see that left subtree followed by root followed by right subtree, and then recursively apply the same rules on the LST and RST, and then keep on applying those rules recursively till you get the leaf nodes, right? Now for pre-order, it's root, left subtree and right subtree, right? So accordingly I think you can solve it. First you have R, which means first node will be L, right, in the traversal, followed by LST, followed by RST. So for LST, with the node rooted at K, right, what will be the pre-order sequence? Again root, which is K, so L and then K, and then left subtree is just A, so then LKA, and then JBC again, root left right, so JBC, right? Now for the subtree or for the tree rooted at H, so again root H followed by left subtree, which is E and D in some sequence, followed by F. So for E and D, or for the tree with the E as the root left right, so means ED, and right is null, EDF. Lastly, moving to post order, left subtree, right subtree, root. So which means L will be the last. Now what is the value of left subtree? So now we're talking about the tree rooted at K. Okay, what is the post order traversal for that looking like? Tree rooted at K, right? So LST, which is A, followed by RST, JBC in some order, followed by K. So A and K appear as single nodes. Now JBC again we have to do a post order recursive. So left right root, which means BCJ. So now we're done. So now for the right subtree, the tree rooted at H, right? So for the tree rooted at H, what do we do? Left right root, so E and D in some order, then F, then H. So F and H comes, and then E and D again, left right root, left is D, right is null, root is E, so DE, right? So we get ABCJK, DEF, HL. So like this we can do in order and pre-order and post-order, all traversals on this binary tree. Okay, so now I am on slide 3 and we are on the second problem in the worksheet. So here we are given a binary search tree and we have to add two nodes separately. So this is a binary tree we have. Tree rooted at 15, left child 9, right child 23. Now for 9, left child 3, right child 12. For 23, left child 19, right child nothing. 3 is a leaf node. 12, left child 10, no right child. 19, no left child, 1 right child, 21. So as I'm going down levels from the root, 15, then 9 and 23, then 3, 12, 19, and then 10, 21. So the structure of the tree is given. And now what we have to do is we have to add two nodes separately, one with value 5, one with value 70. Okay. So we know that binary search tree, what is its defining property? Defining property is for any given node in the tree, all nodes in the left subtree are less than the value of the node, and all nodes in the right subtree are greater than the value of the node. So we see for node, and this property holds for each and every node in the tree. So for node with the root 15, we see all in the left subtree, all 4 nodes have value less than 15. Nodes in the right subtree, all 3 of them have value greater than 15. Now for node 9, all nodes in the left subtree, we have only 1, 3 is less, and 12 and 10 are more. For 12, 10 is in the left subtree, value is less. For 23, 2 nodes are in the left subtree, both are value smaller. For 19, 1 node is in the right subtree, value is larger. So this is a defining property of binary search tree. So that makes it very convenient and very efficient to add nodes. So let's say you want to add 5. So we first start at the root, compare 5 with 15. 5 is less than 15, which means 5 will ultimately find a spot in the left subtree or the right subtree. Because 5 is less than 15, it will find a spot somewhere in the left subtree. So we go down and go to the node with value 9. So in our code it's very simple. We go to node 15, we have pointed to that, and then one of the values for node 15 will be a left child. That will be a pointer, and we just follow that. So now moving to node 9, comparing 5. 5 is less than 9. So again we go left, right? Because 5 is less than 9, node will be in the left subtree. Go to 3. Now 5 is greater than 3, right? Which means now because 5 is greater than 3 this time, it's greater. So we have to go to the right subtree. Go to the right subtree from 3, there's nothing there. So we found a spot for 5. Okay. So keep going, traveling left or right from top level one by one to the lower levels, and then eventually when the left child or right child is null, you install it there. So moving at 17 this time. So 17 is, to add 17 is greater than 15. So we have to go left or right, we have to go right. So going right, comparing 17 and 23, 17 is less than 23, go left. Go left to 19. 17 is less than 19 or greater than 19. 17 is less than 19, go left. Left is nothing, so install 17 there. So all we're doing is this new node that we have, we change our code so that for node 19, the left child contains starting memory address of this. So what happens is node 5 becomes the right child of node 3, and node 17 becomes the left child of node 19. Okay, so this is question number 2. Okay, next is now I am on slide 4, solving the next problem, which says draw a binary search tree with nodes added in the following order: 12, then 15, then 3, then 35, then 21, then 42, then 14. So note that the way you order nodes, the different trees will be created. If you add nodes, let's say in the order of 1, 2, 3, 1, then 2, then 3, a tree is created. If you add them in order of 2, 1, 3, your different tree will be created. Yeah. So here the sequence is 12, then 15, then 3, then 35, then 21, then 42, and then 14. So again adding, this is just similar to the previous problem, but the only thing is we're creating the tree from scratch. So 12, obviously first node becomes a root. 15, start at 12, it's greater, go down right, becomes the right child. So we have 12 and then 15. 3, again start at 12, so all addition operations start at the root. Start at 12, 3 is less than 12, 3 becomes the left child of 12. Look at 35, start at 12, greater than 35 is greater than 12, go down right. 35 is greater than 15, go down right, you found a spot. Likewise for 21, go to 12, then go right, 15, again go right, 35, 21 is less than 35, so go left. 42, straight away you can see it's the largest, so 12, then go right 15, then go right 35, then go right 42. Last is 14, go to 12, go right 15, 14 is less than 15, go left. So quite simple. And now this is, the final tree that we get. Okay, so that's the final tree. Okay, so now I am on slide 5, and we need to write a simple function here that counts the number of nodes. So this is again recursive. So note that if you're going to be working with data structures, if you're going to be working with algorithms, recursion is very, very important and very, very common. So you have to make sure that you're familiar with recursion. Okay. So here what we need to do is find the number of nodes in the tree. Okay. So what is the recursion here? So let's say we're given an initial tree. It will have a root, it will have a left subtree, a certain number of nodes probably, and it will have a right subtree with certain number of nodes also probably. So then what we say is, number of nodes is given the initial tree. We count 1, add 1 for the root node. Root is always 1. So number of nodes in the whole tree is equal to 1 plus number of nodes in the left subtree plus number of nodes in the right subtree. And then again for the left subtree we divide it into root, left subtree and right subtree. Again for root 1, and then again same recursively for the left subtree and for the right subtree. Okay. So now you can see the recursion. Once again, number of nodes in the tree is equal to number of nodes in the root, which is 1. So 1 plus number of nodes in the left subtree plus number of nodes in the right subtree. So again with left subtree we again divide it 3 ways, and again we keep the recursion going. So here's what we have. Here's a code, and we'll go through it on this sample tree of 5 nodes: A, B, C, D, E. A, B, C, D, and E. So this is what the function looks like. Int size, struct node star n. If n is null, return 0. Okay. So n will eventually be null when you are looking at leaf nodes. Yeah. So when we look at B, or when we look at D, or when we look at E, we'll have null. We'll have null in the next call. We'll soon see how. Okay. Else, return size. Again, it's a recursive function, so the same function is called with different input. Size node arrow left with the left child of node plus 1 plus size node arrow right. So here you can see the 5 node tree. How many nodes are in this? If you have to calculate, so number of nodes in this tree is 1 for A plus number of nodes in left subtree plus number of nodes in right subtree. So left subtree we see is 1, and for right subtree again we see root 1 plus number of nodes in left subtree plus number of nodes in right subtree. So 1 plus 1 plus 1 3, and we add that to 2, we get 5. So let's see how this works. Okay. So in the main we'll call it like this: size of root, where we assume that root is what? Root is a pointer to the root of the tree. So again, we know that from our previous experience in the tree programs, we know that all nodes are accessed using pointers. So if P is a pointer to a particular node, then P arrow, member 1, P arrow member 2. Using that notation, we can access individual member variables of a particular node. So we are calling this function size with a pointer to the root node in the tree. So which, when we call size, gets equated to n. So what this means is, now n is also a pointer to the root node. So in this case, root node is a node with value a. So again, recall what the definition of the node was. So for a node, you have three member variables. One is the data. In this case, it's a character. Other member is a pointer to the left child, and third member is pointer to the right child. So both are struct node star left. So yes, for this you have something like a struct node, right? And then within curly brackets, char data, right? Semicolon, and then struct node star left, semicolon, and then struct node star right, semicolon, and then you close the structure definition. Okay. So now n is a pointer to a. Okay. So you will note that here we are making some function calls. So instead of writing size, I have written s, just a shorthand. So s is same as size. And the other thing is, when I'm calling s with a, what I actually mean is I am calling size with a pointer to node a. Okay, so sa means I'm calling size with a pointer to node a. Right. So again, we're using a shorthand here, just to minimize writing. Okay. So initially, first we make a call with s of a, right, calling it with the root. And now and so now n points to a. You know that, right? Now is n null? No, because it contains starting address of a. So now that gives us, that returns sb. Why? Because size node arrow left, right? So I think that there's probably a typo here. Change node arrow left to n arrow left, and change node arrow right to n arrow right. So the last return, it should read size n arrow left plus 1 plus size n arrow right. So change node to n. Okay. So now n points to a, and then what this will give us, s n arrow left, which means a pointer to the left child of a, which means a pointer to b. So that's already installed. So this gives us gives rise to sa, gives rise to call sb plus 1 plus calling size with n arrow right, right child. So n arrow right will be, so n is a pointer to a. So n arrow right will be a pointer to a's right child, which will be pointer to c, starting location of c. So sa gives sb plus 1 plus sc. Okay, that should be clear. So now moving to sb. So now this is a recursive call sb, and now n points to, when you call size with pointer to b, now n points to node b also, right? So is n null? No, because it's got the starting address for b. So therefore it will return size s and arrow left. So left child of b, which is null. So here n stands for null, plus 1 plus size n arrow right, and is recall n is pointing to b. So n arrow right is, so right child for b is null. So sn. So sb gives rise to sn plus 1 plus sn, where n is null, right? So calling with null. So now calling size with null. Now n is equal to null, so return 0. Right? So it returns 0 back, plus 1 plus again sn, which again returns 0 back. Right? So we are calling size null. So the effect is struct node star n is equal to null. So n is null, returns 0. So both those s null recursive calls return 0. So then 0 plus 1 plus 0 is 1. So sb, value of sb is 1. It's returned. So 1, so sb is 1 plus 1, and now sc. We have to calculate sc. That's the only thing left. So now calling size with a pointer to node c. So now the effect is struct node star n is equal to pointer to node C, right? So now n points to node C, right? So now is it null? No, of course not, because it contains starting location for C, which is definitely not null. So SC gives rise to S node arrow left. So node right now, n right now is pointing to C, correct? So n arrow left is pointed to D. So it gives rise to S of D. Size, calling size with a pointer to node D. Plus 1 plus size n arrow right. So n is pointing to C. So n arrow right means pointing to the right child of C, which means pointing to E, right? So therefore it gives a call, it gives rise to SE. So SC, calling size with a pointer to C, node C, gives rise to SD, calling size with a pointer to D, plus 1 plus SE, calling size with a pointer to node E, right? So again we have to do SD and SC. So SD first, it's a leaf node. So now calling size with a pointer to node D. So now n, once we make the function call, now n points to node D. It's null? No, it's not. So returns S, n arrow left. Left child of D is null. So returns Sn, S null, plus 1 plus S null. Right child of B is also null. Right child of C is also. Excuse me, right now we're talking about SD. So left child of D is null, so we get S null. Right child of D is null, so we get S null, and then the 1. Okay. So once they evaluate 0 plus 1 plus 0, so what is returned is 0 plus 1 plus 0, which is 1. So value of SD is 1. Plus 1 and then plus SE. SE story is same as it is with D. So we call size with pointer to E, and now n, after the function call, n points to node E. It's not null. So it results in again 2 more calls. Size with E's left child, which is null, plus 1, plus size with E's right child, which is also null. So those are two S null. So calling size with null returns 0, we know that. So 0 plus 1 plus 0. So finally what SE returns is 1. So SD returns 1 plus 1 plus SE returns 1. So we get 3. So SC returns 3. So SB has returned 1 plus 1 plus SC has returned 3. So 1 plus 1, 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. So SA returns 5. Right. So in this way, we calculate the number of nodes of the tree. Okay. Okay, now I am on slide number 6. So here we look at solution to question number 5. So question 5, if you see, is asking you what this function does. Okay. So you are given a function, and you need to mention or the output for this. What exactly does this function do? So let's look at this function, int mystery. So it's going to return an integer, definitely. Node star root. So probably it will be called with a pointer to the root of a binary tree, right? Node star current is root. So now current is also a pointer to the root node. While current arrow right is not equal to null, right? So current arrow right will be null when we get to a node and whose right child is null. Okay. So while current arrow right is not equal to null, current is current arrow right. So what we can guess is happening is initially we are at the root, and while at the root we visit the right child, and then we keep on doing that. Return current arrow data. So I think probably some nodes data values return. So that again the definition of node is struct node, right? Int data, struct node star left, struct node star right. Okay. So here we've drawn a basic tree. So it has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 nodes, 10 as the root, 2 child nodes, left child 5, right child 15. For 15, left child 17, right child 20. Okay, so it looks like a binary search tree. Yes. Well, probably not, because 5, 10 is okay, 10, 15 is okay, but the node to the left is 17. So again notice a typo here. Node with value 17, please change that to something between 11 and 14. So the node which is given here, which is 17, change it to either 11 or 12 or 13 or 14. Okay. So change 17 to either 11 or 12 or 13 or 14, because our intention is we want to show a binary search tree. Okay. So 17 becomes, let's say, 11. Right. So please make that change. Change 17 to, let's say, 11. So now we call this function, right, with the root. Right. So now current is equal to root. So current is also pointing to the root node. And now we look at current arrow right. So what will current arrow right give us? Current arrow right will give us the starting location of the right child of the root. So remember, whenever we are adding nodes to the root to create a left child, so we'll create a new node. Let's say for 15, we'll create a new node. Then we'll assign the integer part as 15, and then we'll install this 15 as the right child of node 10. So again, if you go back to the program, that initial binary program that discussed tree traversals, you will see how we are adding nodes one at a time in a program, right? So we'll have a pointer to node 10, right? So let's say if the pointer to node 10 is x, so then we say x arrow right, right? If x is a pointer to node 10, x arrow right is equal to starting address of 15. So for 15 also we can have a pointer to node 15, call it y. So if x is a pointer to node 10, y is a pointer to node 15, right? Then we can say something like x arrow right is equal to y, right? Okay. So current arrow right is if current is pointing to node with value 10, then current arrow right will be starting location of node 15, definitely not 0. So current is current arrow right. So now current arrow right is starting memory location for 15, which is essentially a pointer to node 15, and that becomes the new value of current. So now current points to node 15. Again, current arrow right. So 15's right child, again we get a pointer to node 20. Again, it's not null. So therefore current is current arrow right. So current arrow right would be, now it would be starting address of node 20. That becomes a new value of current. Right? It's a pointer supposed to point to a node. So now current will point to starting memory address of node 20. In other words, to put it simply, current points to node 20. Right? Now is current arrow right null or not? Again, executing the while, current is now pointing to node 20. Right? So what is current arrow right? The right child of node 20. That happens to be null. So while current arrow right is not equal to null, becomes false, because current arrow right now, that current is pointing to node 20, current arrow right is null. So null is not equal to null, false. Get out of the while, return current arrow data, which will return 20. So the way the binary search tree is constructed, this will always return the value of the rightmost leaf node. Right? Okay, so the rightmost bottom node, and that is guaranteed to be the maximum value. Okay, so the way binary search tree is arranged is, we know that for a given subtree, or for a given tree at the root, all in the left are smaller, all in the right are larger. So all nodes are distinct. So here we just what we do is we will always print, or we will always return the value of the rightmost child. This case is 20, so it's guaranteed to the maximum. Okay, so I hope it's clear. So only thing you have to change here is, instead of 17, you have to put let's say 11 or 12 or 13 or 14, because we want the binary search property to hold. Okay, so last one, I am on slide number 7, and here we do a complexity question. The question is, what is the worst case complexity of finding a node with a given data value in a binary search tree? Explain your answer. So you're given a binary search tree, and you're given the data value of a node, and you have to search for it. So what is the worst case complexity, right? So we know that searching is a very important computing operation. Google search, for example, right? So how do we do the complexity? So here the answer will depend on what kind of tree it is, right? So here we have two calculations on slide 7, one on the left, one on the right. So we'll look at the one on the left first. So this we sort of call as the one on the left, we call this as a balanced binary tree. So what do we mean by balanced binary tree? So we look at the root, initial root, and then we look at the left subtree and right subtree, and then we compare the number of nodes. So if the tree is binary, number of nodes is roughly equal or close to equal. So in this case, we have one root, and left subtree has how many nodes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right subtree has how many nodes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So both left and right subtree have exact same number of nodes, 7. So this is perfectly balanced. Looking at the tree on the right, we have one root, and for the right subtree, how many nodes do we have? 4. Left subtree, how many nodes do we have? 0. So big difference. So one on the right is unbalanced. So reason we are bringing about this difference between balanced and unbalanced is our answer will differ. Okay. So let's look at a balanced one first. And now the task that we have is, for a tree with n number of nodes, how many, what is the worst case complexity of the search operation? So first of all, as we had discussed in our slides on complexity, we have to first think and come up with the basic operations involved. Once we have those basic operations, we know what they are, then we can quantify them. So here it's very simple. The operation is comparison, right? So you start at the root and then you compare with the value that you have. If the value that you are comparing is small, then you go left, again compare. If the value that you are comparing is large, you go right and then you compare. So you can see that adding a node to a binary search tree and searching for a particular node in a binary search tree are very, very similar operations. So let's try to generalize. So we know that comparison is a key operation. So we have two quantities, n for number of nodes and c in subscript for number of comparisons. So let's look at tree with node 1. One node, how many comparisons? 1. Let's look at a tree with nodes, 3 nodes. How many comparisons? Well, only 2. You start at the root, and then if best case we have a hit at the root, but here we're looking at the worst case. So worst case, your search node value will either be less or greater. So let's say it's greater, go down right, one more comparison, you're done. So the assumption is the element you're looking for, node you're looking for, it exists. So go down right, one more. Even if you had to go down left, only one comparison. So for N3, NC is 2. Now for N is 7, number of nodes is 7. How many comparisons? So note that worst case no more than 3. So whether you go left or right, wherever you go, worst case comparisons is 3. So main thing to note over here is at each level only one comparison. Okay, at each level only one comparison. So top level only one node, one comparison. Second level 2 nodes, still one comparison. Third level 4 nodes, still one comparison. Right? So I really hope that's clear. So if you have a tree with 7 nodes, what we're saying is in no way will you have more than 3 comparisons. Right? I hope everybody can see that. So this is for a binary search tree. Okay. Now moving with the N15, so we have 4 comparisons. So you can see that as we are increasing the value of n, the savings we're getting in terms of NC is really becomes better and better. The difference between n and NC starts becoming more and more. So now let's try to plot or try to put it in a table. So our main aim is to figure out how many comparisons we have for a tree with n nodes. So we say on one side we have NC. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And on the left side we have n. So we have looking at n, we have 1, 3, 7 and 15. Corresponding NC 1, 2, 3, 4. So n's we can write in a specific kind of way. 1 n can be written as 2 raised to 1 minus 1. 3 can be written as 2 raised to 2 minus 1. 7 can be written as 2 raised to 3 minus 1. Finally 15 can be written as 2 raised to 4 minus 1. And now see the exponent power value of 2 and NC. Interestingly, they are identical. Correspondence between the power of 2 and NC. 1 and 1, 2 and 2, 3 and 3, 4 and 4. Okay, so that gives us a very important insight. So let's say if the number of comparisons, the value of NC for n nodes is k, let's assume it's k, right? So number of comparisons for n nodes is k. Now going to the left, we can easily draw. For n, we can say the expanded expression we'll get is 2 raised to k minus 1 because of the correspondence between the exponent and NC. 2 raised to k minus 1. Okay, right? So if we're simply saying n is 2 raised to k, minus 1 can be ignored for large values, and k is log n. So roughly we can say the worst case complexity is of the order of log to the base 2n. Okay. So which means that if we have let's say 16, 16 nodes, well 15, but generalizing to 16, we'll have 4 comparisons. Okay. If we have 1024 nodes, right, well we'll have 1023, 2 raised to 10 minus 1. Then for those 1024, we have 10 comparisons. So you can see this is very similar to binary search. So at any given point, you can eliminate half of the tree. So going at the root, if the value is greater, totally the left subtree is eliminated. Going down again, if the value is smaller, right subtree is eliminated. Okay, so at each stage, you can eliminate a large number of nodes. So it's very, very similar to binary search, and not surprising that the final complexity for a balanced tree is of the base log to the base 2n. Log to the base 2n. Okay. So I hope you were able to see the table and then how the correlation happened and how we got k is equal to log to the base 2n. Okay. So now if you look at the unbalanced tree now, here what is the complexity? So here unfortunately we are not able to exclude nodes, and in the worst case we'll have to examine all of the nodes. So let's see if the nodes are 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. So 1 is the root, 2 is the right child of 1, 3 is the right child of 2, 4 is the right child of 3, 5 is the right child of 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, top to bottom. In this case, worst case complexity is you have to do 5 comparisons. So worst case complexity is n. So therefore we can say that the more balanced a tree is, the better we can do in terms of complexity, because log n is much better than n. So we've seen that chart. So if n is 1024, log n is only 10. So big difference. Okay. So I hope now the worst case complexity analysis for a tree, binary tree, search tree is clear. So for a binary search tree, for balanced one, it's log n, log to the base 2n, and for an unbalanced one, it's of the order of n. Okay.